action fanatics, welcome to a very special year in review edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
Happy holidays, happy new year. Let's wrap things up with a very special edition that I am happy to be here for.
And of course, our third member, Ryan Campbell.
Oh, always one of my favorite pods that we do throughout the year. I got to watch some of my Avatar bullshit this past week, and ready for the holidays. Good end of the year pod. The vibes they're good right now, Brain.
Yeah, you need to get some holiday spirit. You're very angry. A lot of angst in you these past few days. So hopefully this podcast will get you in the holiday spirit, and hopefully everybody listening is also in the holiday spirit. Because, I want to say, and I've said it possibly on this program before, I know I've been saying it on my rounds of guest spots, but 2025 was a fantastic year for action. Whether you went to the theater to see it, whether you sat at home and watched it on Netflix, whether it was a VOD type situation. I mean, there was a lot of great action in 2025. And I think that's where we should start this whole episode, because I tasked each of you to come up with your top 5 action movies of 2025, and we'll kind of go around the horn here. And let's start with you, Ryan Campbell. What was your number 5 top action movie of the year?
Oh, okay. I didn't go just purely action movies. I just did like my top 5 movies.
There's a shock.
But they all could be kind of actiony. This first one though, I don't know if it'd be controversial, but it's a little off of the radar, Brain. It was an animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in at number 5 was K-pop Demon Hunters. If anyone out there has kids, specifically, 8 to 12 to 14-year-old girls, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was the Netflix animated film from Sony Animation, and it slaps, and the soundtrack is brain scratching. It hits all those right notes. It's actually a pretty cool film. The animation style is really cool, catchy music. It's original, not based on something, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that came in my number 5. I wasn't expecting it, but it was really good, and it kind of took over the summer. I would say the kind of soundtrack of the summer ended up kind of being from this obscure K-pop Netflix movie, and that kind of was the soundtrack of the summer. So very cool.
Toyman, you're number 5.
You mentioned it being a fantastic year, and I did not put these in any particular order. So I am going to jump in with, of course, the Fantastic Four: First Steps, one of the best movies in the MCU, an absolutely amazing rendition of the Fantastic Four characters. They finally got it right on the big screen, and it was an enjoyable superhero outing, just a tremendous blockbuster. I really liked it, and I liked where it is pointing the MCU, the direction that it's pointing things in, because if we can kind of keep up this pace, then things will be in good hands for a while to come.
Ryan Campbell, I know you saw Fantastic Four as well.
I did, yeah. It's on my top 10 as I was kind of going through the list and trying to think about what movies that came out, and I was just listing the ones I liked, and then I narrowed it down. Yeah, I need to watch it again, and I don't know if we talked about this on the pod or off air, but I watched it like when I was on vacation, and I left the house we were renting to go watch it at like 12:30 by myself, like in a weird theater. I don't know if the just everything was off a little bit, but I definitely liked it. But it just didn't stick with me like some of the other films did. So it didn't make it in my top 5, but I did enjoy it.
All right. Well, my number 5 comes to us from our friends at Wellgo USA. And I think I could have done a top 5 Wellgo movies, but I think I mentioned this not too long ago, but The Old Woman with the Knife. When I put in my review that it was one of those edge of your seat, I literally was sitting at the edge of my love seat, just leaned in watching this thing, partially because it's subtitled, so you have to really pay attention to these movies, but also just because I didn't know what was happening. You had the old assassin and then the young assassin coming up behind, And you know, you saw the origin story of this woman and how she helped build this company of assassins, and then she ends up violating the rules that she's been helping, really help write. And it just was, one of those, just I could not wait to see what was going to happen next. Just a fantastic movie. And again, I could easily have done a Well Go top 5, but that was definitely the best from the Well Go bunch, as far as I'm concerned, in 2025. So people, if you haven't seen it and you don't mind the subtitles, give it a look. Number 4, Ryan Campbell.
This one, I'm going to go my comic book Marvel movie, but it's not Fantastic Four. It's actually Thunderbolts. So,
yes.
A little bit, I don't want to say underrated, because I don't know how a Marvel movie can be underrated. I mean, but I didn't like flop at the box office, but it just didn't kind of do what you expect Marvel movies to do, for whatever reason. But it's a really solid film. And I think in some ways it takes some of the things that work about the MCU, but also does, I think, some things that are different. It's a little bit of a darker movie. I think a lot of the characters being kind of, the cast off characters from different other series and things all kind of coming together. And like you said, Toyman, I think it's set up as well as it's going to be one of the main factions going into Doomsday next year. The Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers, I should say. So I really enjoyed it, and it was definitely one that when it hit Disney Plus again, like I immediately watched it again. And it was really good.
Toyman, you're number 4.
I am going to talk about a film that I expected to enjoy, but did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. It's one that we have mentioned before. We had a discussion on the podcast. I'm talking, of course, about Predator Badlands, which just turned out to be a very different viewpoint of the Predator universe. Very enjoyable, different in a very good way. I like how they strayed from the normal Predator formula, and it turned out to be one of my more enjoyable theatrical experiences this year. And I know that my son was also a big fan of it as well.
Very good. My number 4 is going to be Nobody 2, which took everything that was great about the first one and just amped it up, as a great sequel will do. Plus, you had a much more memorable villain, because Sharon Stone is batshit crazy in this movie, and she really made it. And plus, you had RZA with the katana. I mean, this is something. Christopher Lloyd with the Gatling gun. This movie is insane, and it basically had one of the world's most dangerous amusement parks, which is always nice.
Very nice.
That could come into play at some point. But that, yes, Nobody 2, number 4 on my top 5.
Is that on streaming yet?
I believe it's on Peacock.
I'm going to check that out.
Very, very good. Ryan, you're number 3.
My number 3 is a little kind of horror / action. One of the better movies of the year in general. And as I don't know if it came out because it came out earlier in the year, but as we're winding down, I keep seeing people's lists. This one keeps getting left off of it. But that's Sinners. Sinners was just fantastic, both from like a action horror aspect, but also just like a filmmaking aspect, and again, music. If you didn't check out Sinners, if you're kind of using these last few weeks of the year to catch up maybe on some stuff you missed, definitely check it out. It was a fantastic movie. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, that one definitely had a lot of buzz when it first came out, but you're right. And I think that just goes to show that, there's been a lot of good movies across the board, because I could even recall early on in the year, there was a movie on Netflix called Demon City, and I'm like, oh, for sure, this would be on my top 5. Spoiler alert, it did not make my top 5. It may not even be in my top 10, honestly, if I really thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting Oscar buzz, and people were saying like the best movie of the year, it came out in February or whatever it was when it came out. Yeah. And now we're here at the end of the year, and I just keep seeing it getting left off.
Right. Toyman, you're number 3.
This would have to go to a film that was greatly anticipated by many people, myself and you as well, Brain, just because of the pedigree that we have in the action universe, the stuff that we grew up on, or the stuff that we've become a fan of and dedicated to over the years. So we had an ensemble cast full of some of our Bulletproof favorites, people that we've paid tribute to, people that we talked about ad nauseum for years and years. We finally got to see them all in action again. I'm talking, of course, about Black Creek, the passion project of Cynthia Rothrock, bringing back Richard Norton, Don the Dragon Wilson, Patrick Kilpatrick, just so many familiar faces. Great to see them all again. Very happy to see it. And of course, one of my top films of the year, just based on the fact that the legends were in full effect again.
And that's saying something too, because you are not a Western guy. Ordinarily.
I am not. Nope, I am, more just, martial arts or straight up action. You give me something like Commando or Predator or The Man Barry Chan. We'll go old
What
school
the
kung fu,
hell?
and I'll get
We're
my
talking
reference in right there.
2025, and you're mentioning Barry. Goddamn Chan.
I can't
Just
close out the year
count
without
yourself
mentioning Barry
lucky.
Chan.
Brian, just count yourself lucky a Scream movie didn't come out this year.
No, that's next year. That's next year, I believe.
It's early next year too.
That's right. So you don't have much longer to wait. All right. Well, my number 3, and I love this one, Ballerina from the world of John Wick. I love the John Wick franchise.
That's another one I need to check out.
Yeah, you do, because there's a freaking
well.
flamethrower battle in that movie. That's just oh.
And I love watching me some Ana de Armas.
Yes, she is absolutely wonderful, and the perfect bit of casting there. I never will be upset if Daniel Bernhardt shows up in any of these things. He was also in Nobody 2. I didn't mention that, but yeah, just a fantastic piece of business. And I'm looking forward. I know that there's going to be more little of these John Wick offshoots coming down the road, so I'm all for it.
No misses in that series, really, are they? They are batting 1,000 right now.
They're doing well. I mean, John Wick 4, the only complaint would be that it was quite long, but again, I wouldn't say it was a bad movie at all. Been very good movies all around, and now the spinoff Ballerina, excellent. All right, we are at the number 2 spot now, Ryan Campbell.
All right, Brain.
Yeah,
it's time for a little Fire and Ash. That's right. Avatar Fire and Ash comes in at number 2, and I'll try to save because it's still so fresh. If you're listening to this, maybe you haven't even seen it yet. If you're waiting until like the holidays to go see it with as many people to give your billions of dollars to, it's just like you mentioned earlier, Brain. If the second installment in the film, its goal is to just do everything bigger, and that's what Way of Water did. It took the world and just expanded it. The third one is where you can now go back into that big world and now focus a little bit more back on the characters. We get the introduction of a brand new villain that is just soaks up the screen in Varane, and an increasingly crazy dynamic between kind of the main protagonist and the main antagonist. I mentioned in my review, they have a very Goku Vegeta-like kind of battle of wills. So if you like kind of somewhat redemption arcs for antagonists kind of things, like a Vegeta Goku thing, I think they're kind of building on that, which I like. Also some really bold choices with where some of the characters are going, and some heavy stuff as well. So it was really good. And that's all before you get into just the sheer spectacle and how amazing the visuals are and everything else that you expect to come from an Avatar movie. So it delivers all of that. It is long, so just go in and be ready for it. And can't recommend it enough. Yeah, really good.
Toyman, your number 2 movie.
Another one that we had a great time watching at the theater, one that I am a fan of the original of. My son has not seen the original. He is aware of it, but he absolutely loved this one. And I kind of likened it to our time going to see The Fall Guy, where we expected a good time. And it kind of took us by surprise at how into it we actually got. I am talking, of course, about Glenn Powell, who has fast become a favorite in this household, and the Running Man remake.
All right. Yeah, very, very interesting. People out there, you might want to keep your eyes peeled when that Blu-ray is about to come out. That's all I have to say. Check out bulletproofaction.com.
I get what you're putting out there. Yeah.
My number 2, features two great action stars who have been kind of carrying the torch for most of this this past decade or so. I'm talking about Diablo, starring Scott Adkins and Marco Zaror. And Marco Zaror, he was the scariest bald bastard I've ever known. He is a very scary individual in this movie. This is a fantastic film. Great, you expect great action from these gentlemen. They're martial arts experts. So, there've been many movies where they got to show off their martial arts skills. To me, though, this one, they really got to show off their acting chops as well. And were both very interesting characters and a very memorable film. The big finale is one of those all-timer type in the action world, and absolutely love this movie, and very happy that both gentlemen had this chance to kind of elevate themselves. Diablo, if you have not seen that one, definitely check that one out as well. All right, Ryan Campbell, it's time now. Your number one movie.
Drum roll, please. And Brian, I think we probably have the same number one movie, so I will defer to you to do most of the talking. I'll just talk about how it kind of affected me. But my number one movie of the year for 2025 is Superman. And I'll just say it's one of those rare movies where when I left the theater, if I would have had the time, I might have went back around, bought a ticket, walked my ass back in there and watched it again. Like as soon as I got home, I wanted to see it again. The rare movie where beyond just walking out and being like, thinking about how good the movie was for a few days. That's usually a sign that a movie's good is, you spend the next few days reading about it online, talking with people, breaking it down. Superman made you want to be a better person. Like you left that movie feeling inspired and wanting to maybe be a little bit of a nicer person to people, be a little bit better of a person. I mean, it was just such a good movie on so many different levels. My movie of the year, I anticipate it's probably yours as well. So I'll let you talk a little bit more about the actual movie. But Superman number one for 2025.
Very good. Toyman, your number one movie?
So I am actually surprised that it took this long for Superman to be mentioned. I assumed that I would be beaten to the punch, but I didn't realize it would be right before I mentioned it because that was going to be my mention as well. To Ryan's point, it was a movie that I immediately was like, I could watch that movie again and again. I mentioned how great Fantastic Four was for the MCU, but Superman was even more important in the superhero realm because DC has needed a hit. It has needed something for the audiences to latch onto, and I think that this was an excellent proving ground for James Gunn and the nucleus of this new DCU movie universe that's being built. So I will defer to not continue to ramble on with all the positives because I know that you have a lot to say about Superman. I will defer to what would have been my honorable mention. It was a film that, again, another remake, and we had a great chat with Paul London about it. It was just a nice throwback to the video store era that we are so nostalgic for. Of course, I'm talking about the Deathstalker remake with the previously mentioned Daniel Bernhardt.
Indeed, yeah. Daniel Bernhardt was busy this year. Deathstalker was fun. And like you said, total throwback. And yeah, if you've missed out on that episode, go check it out in the archives. Yes, my number one movie should be no surprise. You were absolutely right, Ryan Campbell. It was, in fact, Superman. And I said it when we talked about it here on the pod. It reached into my very soul. Like, I felt energized from this movie. And I did go back and see it, not the very next day, but like within a week or so, I was right back at the theater. I have never in my adult life went back to the theater to see a movie, but I did for this. The casting perfection, all the way around. I mean, there was not one person in that cast that was like somebody else could have done it better. No, and like you said, Ryan, it just made you want to be a better person. Kindness is indeed the new punk rock, and Skylar Gazondo as well. My boy, Jimmy Olsen. I'm looking forward to the freaking Jimmy Olsen show. Like, if you would have told me 5 years ago there's going to be a Jimmy Olsen show, I'd be like, oh, okay. So why? But now I'm like, yeah, let's see this. I'm intrigued by what a Jimmy Olsen show could be with think it's got the gorilla guy in there. It's going to be something. But yeah, Superman, absolutely wonderful film, and it's like number one by a great distance. It just blows everything out of the water for me personally.
So I guess all three of us then consensus on Superman number one.
Yeah.
It was that damn good. I think it hurt Fantastic Four for me because it was the next week. I don't know if that might have played into it too, but like I remember walking out of it and being like, I kind of want to see Superman again.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go, folks. I could probably rattle off a ton of honorable mentions. We didn't even mention.
I did want to mention one, Brandon.
Okay,
this is a TV series, which that's why I didn't make my list, but it would have been up there if we were including them. And that was Andor season 2. If I was going to say easily up there, if we're including it in the list of Star Wars movies, if I'm ranking just like all the properties, it's probably up there, like top 3 up there with the other ones that kind of bounce around. But holy shit, the whole series, season 1 and 2, but season 2 specifically is, even if you're not into Star Wars, just from like a drama, if you're into like, dramatic, like tentpole big series, it's fucking fantastic. If you didn't watch season 2 of Andor, go check it out. If anything, go check out season 2 of Andor before you watch anything else, because it was so good. I feel like it needs to be brought up at least in this review of 2025.
And as I was about to say, there's so many things we could probably give an honorable mention to. We haven't even mentioned Toyman. Like, there was 2 Chad Michael Collins movies that were really great. This latest in the Sniper franchise, and then The Wrecker, which was just like, The Wrecker was like PM Entertainment gold of the past come back. It's also kind of feels a little bit like a direct-to-video, like it could be a direct-to-video Fast and the Furious franchise. It's just there was just so much fun about that movie. Again, there was a bunch of well-go movies that I enjoyed, and just so much that was so good. So if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I wish action movies would come back like they were in the 90s. To me, this felt so much like the 90s, and just almost every month you had a few titles coming out. It was just, we had a Working Man, the Statham movie was out earlier this year too. I mean, there was so much great stuff in the action realm, much content.
We talked about it throughout the year with some of these, but in the same way that horror kind of had a revitalization the last 5 or 6 years, it feels like action's kind of about to have its moment the way horror did, 4 or 5 years ago. So in 2025, if in 10 years, we might look back at 2025 being like that first uptick before like a boom period for action movies, both big budget and small, medium, all over it.
And that's how the 90s were. I mean, let's not sit here and pretend like all these direct-to-video 90s movies were like absolutely the greatest. No, but they were fun, and you watched them and you look forward to them. And I think there was a ton of that. Toyman, you didn't even mention the Karate Kid Legends movie. I mean, that was another thing that was out there. So much.
I mean, I had these. I did have a small list of honorable mentions. I will say this: Sniper: The Last Stand was a lot of fun. I wrote in my review, and I mentioned it. It was not only like a throwback, but it was almost like a video game come to life. The choreography and between the fight scenes, the action sequences, the weapons usage, all of it. Like, that was a really fun movie. The reason Black Creek edged that one out as far as the top 5, even though it was an unranked top 5, is due to the nostalgia. Due to the fact that it was like, wow, Cynthia Rothrock, Richard Norton, like seeing these people together again. So certainly nothing against our pal CMC or anything. And as you know, I'm probably one of the bigger Sniper franchise fans around. We've talked about those movies several times. So that was a great one. Karate Kid Legends was a lot of fun. To Ryan's point about horror, Black Phone 2 was a great movie, and a movie that I had a lot of fun with. Saw that one in the theater as well. So
Weapons was good too. I had Weapons on my list. If I'm just giving my top movies of 2025, I'd have Weapons on there too. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, this was really, we talk about all the years that were stacked with stuff. Like, we're coming up in 2026 being the 30-year anniversary of 1996. So we're going to talk about some of those coming up on bulletproofaction.com. Stay tuned for that. So this really felt like one of those just amazing years where the content just kept coming out and coming out and coming out, and it's like you don't know where the good stuff ends because it's just like that conveyor belt. It's like I Love Lucy with the chocolates. It's like, give me more action, give me some horror that's got some action in it, just feed me more, Seymour, feed me more. And this was one of those years.
And as of right now, it looks like 2026 is going to follow suit. We are going to have another brand new Jason Statham movie at the end of January called Shelter. We've got Mortal Kombat 2 coming out in May. We have Supergirl in June, and another Spider-Man, Brand New Day in
Street
July.
Fighter.
And then Street Fighter in October, and Violent Night 2 in December. So, and I'm sure there's more, but that I was trying to, off the top of my head, before we hopped on, I was looking these up, and yeah, I mean, so right there's stuff to already look forward to. Again, if we have years like we had this year, we're going to be having a great time here on the podcast and over at bulletproofaction.com. Any other 2025 movies we want to mention that we have not? Ryan Campbell, do you have anything else?
I mean, I had a few that I enjoyed. The F1 movie.
Okay.
I also had Predator Badlands on there and Running Man. Those were two that November was really good. But yeah, also another one sneaky towards the end of the year. Welcome to Derry. If you're another horror fan or a Stephen King fan or a fan of the It movies, it just wrapped up last week. Really good finale. It's 8 episode quick watch. It was good. We're gonna finish up Stranger Things before the year ends here. So yeah, just a top notch year.
I do want to mention Sisu Road to Revenge. Just frickin' over the top craziness. Another great one that I love seeing at the theater. So again, 2025, thank you so much for everything you provided. And 2026 is looking good too. So, we'll probably be talking about a lot of those movies about a year from now, and hopefully a bunch more as well.
2025 was also a good year for the pod brain, which we're going to get into here in a moment.
We will be getting into that. But when we return, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about some of those that we lost in 2025 and pay tribute to them and their accomplishments in the world of action cinema. So we will be right back after this. Back here on the special year in review edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. Chris the Brain, the Toyman, and Ryan Campbell with you. And right now we
was that commercial break for the shoe thing?
The Shoudini? No, I don't.
Shoudini?
Maybe. I don't know if we can get them as a sponsor. I certainly would love to. But yeah, we're back.
Shoudini.
It's yeah. It's a shoehorn on a stick, folks. And if you never saw that commercial, I suggest doing that. You might want to do it because we're going to go a little down. Things are going to get a little bit somber for a moment, but at the same time, we want to pay tribute to these folks. And I'm going to start off with, we talked about Superman being basically our unanimous #1 movie of the year, but for me, another big part of that is because I love the original Superman so much. And a huge part of that was obviously Gene Hackman, who was Lex Luthor. And it was very sad. That was one of probably the first really sad stories of the year. Of course, we're kind of wrapping up with another sad story with the whole Rob Reiner thing. But Toyman, Gene Hackman, between Superman and French Connection and Crimson Tide, he did a lot of great films.
Yeah, Superman, obviously growing up on that, just, he was Lex Luthor and he did a great job. Rivals Jack Nicholson's Joker is just one of those legendary actors that brought a villain to life, and it was great to see as a kid. But French Connection, it was a movie that used to pop up on TV a lot when I was a kid, and I would get into it like, all right, cool, like this cop movie, kind of like this noirish type movie. And then as I got older, I had a really strong appreciation for that movie. I love the French Connection. And then just thinking about some of the modern things that he did, I remember him in Enemy of the State in the late 90s, popping up in some of like the later fare. So, and then obviously you can't discount his comedic appearances. And then we mentioned Westerns, he was in Unforgiven and then The Quick and the Dead. So just a tremendous amount of output for Gene Hackman, just a true legend in the business. And sad the way we lost him, because he was one of those guys that was always in what you were watching. Didn't matter if you were in the mood for a comedy, a thriller, some straight up action, a drama. Gene Hackman did it all, just a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and it was another Superman villain from the original movie, Terrence Stamp, who played General Zod. There's another one that we lost. And then a Hollywood heavyweight, Ryan Campbell, who actually got into the MCU at one point, Robert Redford.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones where he's one of those people that you want to bring some like levity or some powerhouse to your franchise. You go get Robert Redford, and that just took what was already a great movie and Winter Soldier. A lot of people still hold it up there as the best MCU movie, bar none. And you add him as playing that character but carries so much weight and so much, again, gravitas, instantly leads credibility to the kind of the spy thriller story they were trying to tell in that movie. So yeah, he was great there. Of course, the reason you brought him in was because he's done so many spy kind of movies, and like Gene Hackman, who had done Hoosiers and The Replacements, and he also can cross over and do westerns, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but do sports movies again. He's the natural, he is the natural. So one of those guys that, again, just so much range that you could drop him into just about anything. He was like in Charlotte's Web, like all kinds of just whatever. And there's the amount of range that he had from early in his career all the way to his late stages and the end of his career. Just again, Titan of Hollywood right there.
One of my favorites, not an action movie, but All the President's Men, an excellent movie with Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman in there. Toyman, an 80s icon, one would say, Val Kilmer.
Oh, Val Kilmer. I mean, let's not even talk about the action stuff for a moment. Real Genius, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Just a great comedy, just one of those classic feel-good 80s movies. If you've never seen Real Genius, do yourself a favor. Buy it, rent it, watch it on streaming, do all of the above. But of course, Val Kilmer in Top Gun, Val Kilmer in Top Gun Maverick, bringing him back. He was Batman at one point, Batman Forever. We've been talking so much about superheroes here. Who could forget that? And then even in later years, showing up in some DTV movies. There's that movie that he did, was it Streets of Blood with 50 Cent?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep. Let me just verify that title. Yes, Streets of Blood with 50 Cent. He was in everything for years, whether it was a big budget 80s or 90s movie, and then that Second Life in the DTV era. He's also got a supporting role in one of my favorite underrated movies. It was a mainstream movie, but I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough, and it's actually a movie that'll be celebrating its 20th anniversary next year. He was in Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. And that came out in 2006. I was a big fan of that movie, so it was very cool to see him as an FBI agent in that film. Just again, Gene Hackman in so many things that we grew up on. Robert Redford transitioned over to so many different things, whether it was action, Western, sports movies. Val Kilmer, again, he did comedy, he did action, he did drama. He was Jim Morrison in The Doors. Just another true icon in this business. We lost a lot of important people in Hollywood this year, and it's kind of sad to see them go. Like, they will live on forever in film, but the fact that we lost so many powerhouses in one year, that's just a sad story.
I mean, I think it's something we're gonna have to get used to, is so many these icons of when film was really taking off in those early days in the 80s and 90s, when like the golden age of a lot of that stuff, we're gonna sadly start losing. But I will say with Val Kilmer, I had never seen Heat until like after his death.
Right,
I went back and watched it this year for the first time after his passing. And I knew people had always talked about how great it was, and I'd seen the shootout scene and the infamous talking about how they left the sound in of the natural weapons and everything like that. Holy shit, that movie was really good. And I'm if nothing else, I'm grateful that I finally watched it.
That's one I definitely need to rewatch so badly.
And it was 1995, so it just had its talking about 30-year reunion or anniversaries. That was this year.
Jerry Trimble has a role in Heat, so we actually had an action icon, of martial arts direct-to-video icon playing a role in that film. That was just, you had so many, De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer, and then even someone like Jerry Trimble, who we knew from films that other people might not be aware of in that film. That one just brought so many people out of the woodwork.
And Chad Cruz would hate us if we did not mention Val Kilmer and Willow. So
absolutely.
You can't forget Willow. All right, moving on. The one and only Wings Hauser, one of the more eccentric members of this list, more than just Cole Hauser's dad. Wings Hauser, Toyman. He put a little spin on everything he was in. I just saw him last week on an episode of The A-Team.
Yeah, he was actually, the A-Team is definitely more memorable to me, being such a big fan of the show, but I will always remember him for being Ramrod, the evil pimp in Vice Squad.
There you go. Yeah.
Which is just one of those classic, early 80s exploitation films. And, memorably, he kills Rerun, Fred Berry, in that film. So as a fan of 70s and 80s sitcoms, the fact that Wings Hauser kills Fred Berry on film is just one of those moments where it's like, only in the stuff that I watch could this actually happen.
Did a lot with PM Entertainment, and the PM Entertainment podcast actually dedicated an entire episode to Wings Hauser. Austin Trunick from the Canon Film Guide has actually had a Wings Hauser themed Christmas card that he sent out this year, which I thought was very nice. I finally watched LA Bounty after Wings passed, and what a crazy ass movie that is. I mean, Sybil Danning, and you've got this artist, Wings Hauser, the artist, who's in this. He's just when he's on the screen, you can't help but pay attention to this man. He's up there, or out there, I should say. So Wings Hauser, definitely a sad loss there.
He had a very small role in a film that we'll be talking about because it's another film celebrating an anniversary in 2026. But he had a very small role in a film that I know that you are familiar with, Original Gangsters.
Am I ever familiar with that? Mm-hmm. I mentioned PM Entertainment, and we should mention that Richard Pepin, one half of the founders of PM Entertainment, also passed this year. And again, check out the PM Entertainment podcast because they did a wonderful tribute to Richard Pepin as well. I mean, Toyman, we've talked about how, just the PM Entertainment magic and how it's still being felt today because of guys like Spiro Rosatos, who really came into their own under the PM umbrella and now are doing, major movies, including like all the Fast and Furious movies of at least the second part of that series.
Yeah, it's just, they built themselves, I don't want to say they built themselves from the ground up, but it's just amazing that legacy has gone from, the video store, the, direct to pay-per-view, direct to late night HBO or Cinemax or whatever, into such blockbuster fare. Like, we're putting PM Entertainment and the Fast and the Furious in the same sentence. But Richard Pepin, I mean, these are the films, whether you're talking about a Ted Jan Roberts movie, like, was it, Tiger Heart? And then you've got Anna Nicole Smith, Skyscraper. I viewed that one a couple of years back. Just the wide variety of what PM Entertainment brought to the dance in that era. It's just the PM filmography alone would keep movie watchers busy for a couple of years with tons of a variety of entertainment.
And Pepin, I know, was really credited to giving PM the look that their movies had. And just, you felt that Vegas and Los Angeles vibe anytime you watched a PM Entertainment movie. Another big one, this one crossed, both of my passions, both action movies and professional wrestling. Hulk Hogan passed away. His movie career was maybe not as stellar as he would have wanted it to be, but I'll forever love No Holds Barred, Toyman.
As you should. No Holds Barred is, if you were a wrestling fan, now I will admit, I don't intend to slight the man here on this podcast as we pay tribute. I did not grow up as a big Hulk Hogan fan. I know that that might be blasphemous to say, being a young wrestling fan in the 80s, but I always drifted more towards the heels. And my first exposure to wrestling was also world-class wrestling. So I was more of a Von Erichs guy. I was kind of into more of the traditional white meat NWA style baby faces, even though I also love the Four Horsemen. So Hogan didn't really do it for me, but No Holds Barred, just to see wrestling portrayed on the big screen the way it was. And just recently, and when I say recently, several days ago, I was watching the Saturday Night's Main Event live stream on YouTube. And it was the Saturday Night's Main Event when Tiny Lister showed up as Zeus
Yeah.
in front of the steel cage before Hogan went to go fight Boss Man.
Yeah.
And, they carried, that built to the movie, the match at the end of 1989. And while we're talking about Hogan and wrestling, I will say that that cage match against Boss Man, one of my absolute favorite Hulk Hogan matches.
Yeah, I mean, Hogan was the face of the company and took them national. I mean, they needed Hulk. Vince and Hulk were the winning combination for the then WWF. And yeah, No Holds Barred was such a. It was like, yeah, back then we didn't have the monthly pay-per-view. So No Holds Barred in itself felt like a pay-per-view event because it was something special to point to. And it obviously built up SummerSlam. We had the Survivor Series and then the big. You didn't just have a Christmas in 1989. You had a No Holds Barred Christmas. And I certainly did. And again, the Hulkster was very important. WWE would not be where they are today without Hogan laying that foundation. And again, I'll forever love No Holds Barred. Santa with muscles, not so much, but that's another story.
No, yeah. What more can you say? Just a piece of Americana brain, it's hard as we're all wrestling fans, but for someone to really break out of wrestling and not just be known, like people don't even know who John Cena is, people know who The Rock is. I would say Hogan went even beyond that to become like as American as apple pie. It wasn't just like oh yeah, that's the wrestler. It was, that's Hulk Hogan, like icon, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. It transcended the medium that he was from.
Yep.
To where he wasn't even put in the context of being a wrestler. It was just, that's Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest, entertainment people in general, without even doing movies. He didn't even really start even doing movies till after he'd built up much of his popularity. So, but yeah, not much more you can say. I have fond memories growing up. I grew up more around the WCW time because just my age. I was born in 86, but I remember obviously knowing who he was. And then I had an NWO shirt. Like the NWO was right around millennials my age were starting to be edgy, DX and all that stuff. So I had my NWO shirt. And then of course, seeing his later career and kind of come back to WWE and be celebrated in the WrestleMania 18 match and everything. It's just what more can you say? It's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, again, and Hogan, it was almost like Hogan walked so the others could run.
Absolutely. He laid the blueprint that everyone now is trying to at least replicate.
Because now it's not an odd thing that a wrestler would be in a movie. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Street Fighter's got freaking Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns in it. So
I mean, he legitimized the entire industry. Like it stopped being this kind of looked at as like carny joke, thing for kids, and became something that adults didn't have to be ashamed to admit they liked. And that's carried through to today. Now, now there's movie stars and athletes sitting ringside that are just marking out for wrestlers, which is insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, before all of this, Brain mentioned the A-Team earlier, and Hulk Hogan is on one of the most famous episodes of the A-Team, the Body Slam episode, and then he came back for another episode after that. But Body Slam, one of my favorite episodes, not just for the fact that it brought wrestling again into the mainstream and kind of built that crossover, which lured Mr. T into the WWF, but you get to see the British Bulldogs and Ricky Steamboat kicking mobsters' asses, and to be a wrestling fan and to already love the A-Team because they're like, G.I. Joes come to life, and now they've merged those two things. That was just mind-blowing to a youngster back in the day.
Oh yeah, I mean it was like it felt like there was no way I wasn't going to be a wrestling fan, because by then I was already a fan, but it's like everything I liked, they popped up on MTV. That's how I first discovered wrestling. And it's like, all right, let's say I didn't see that. Well, I would have seen them on the A-Team. Like, there was no way I was getting away from it. And I'm certainly glad I didn't, because, it's, again, been almost a lifelong love now of this genre and this form of entertainment. So Hulkster, definitely a huge loss. And he, as they say, I don't want to be cliche, but Hulkamania truly will live on forever. Here's somebody from the world of canon, Toyman, Mr. Richard Chamberlain.
Canon's version of Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Quartermain.
Alan Quartermain, Richard Chamberlain. Look, I love canon films. We make no secret about that. I was a huge Indiana Jones fan when I was a kid.
Yes.
Again, another thing that just I latched on to. I can't say that Richard Chamberlain surpassed Harrison Ford in my eyes, but just, he was part of like that fun canon magic where they were very quick to try to jump on anything that was trending and get their own version of it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just, they're not the greatest films, but they're fun. You can sit back and just enjoy them for what they were. And honestly, the first King Solomon's Mines, it's not that bad. I mean, obviously the effects are not where you would want them to be, but again, that's part of canon's charm.
But that's kind of, and they knew they weren't going to be on those levels. But
Right.
back then, you didn't get a sequel every year.
Right.
Even if they were going to make more Indiana Jones movies, it was going to be 3 years minimum before the next one came out. So there was definitely an appetite for even that movie at 50% quality, like there's a huge market for that, and they filled it.
They surely did. Here's one I know Toyman will be all about. Mr. Peter Kwong.
Why am I going to be all about Peter Kwong, Brain?
Why? Why not? Never Too Young to Die. How about Angel Town? How about Big Trouble in Little China? This man was in all kinds of things.
I am surprised that you didn't mention one of the main ones, just because we're big fans of the star over here. He was in The Golden Child. Eddie Murphy.
Yep. So Peter Kwong. Here's one for our music lovers. Lalo Schifrin. Enter the Dragon. Mission Impossible. I mean, this man, he made the music of some of the most iconic things of all time, Toyman. No? Toyman doesn't agree?
Bullet, Dirty
not
Harry. No,
Huh?
I lost it there.
No. Did I blank out for a second there?
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear you say anything.
No, I was going to say, even away from the action world, he did the Amityville Horror.
Yeah. Yeah. He was good. He's a fantastic composer. Also gone. This one we talked about not too long ago because it just happened recently. Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. And, when that happened, it was just another reminder that we, for God's sake, sometime next year, have to talk about Showdown in Little Tokyo.
I thought you were going to say Johnny Tsunami.
No, I wasn't.
We mentioned the new Mortal Kombat coming out. Obviously, he was the original. He brought Shang Tsung to life.
Yeah.
He was in Kickboxer 2, which as
we
you
have
know,
talked
I
about.
tend to, I favor that Kickboxer more than any other one in the series. He was just, he was everywhere. Rising Sun. I don't think we've ever talked about Rising Sun.
That's another good one. Yeah, we have
Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery. That's a great film.
I saw that at the Parma Theater,
Ooh.
right up the street from my parents' house, which is now a CVS. But back in the day, it was like the $1 or $2 theater.
A movie theater is a CVS? That's gonna be a weirdly configured CVS.
They tore down the.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The theater was burned down. Well, burned inside, because teenagers would break in there and do God knows what teenagers do.
Bastards.
And they set fire to it. So then it was like, well,
they were humping so hard. They were dry humping so hard that it caused friction and started a fire.
In Neon Maniacs. But so where the Parma Theater stood, they tore it all down and built the CBS.
You know what would be interesting to talk about because it is celebrating an anniversary. It's another 1996 film, but it's a subject that I don't think we've ever broached. Certainly not on the podcast. But he was in one of Robert Downey Jr.'s forays into DTV action. He was in a film called Danger Zone in 1996, which starred Robert Downey Jr. and Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, Matt Spector covered that. It was a New Image movie, I believe. Matt
I believe
covered
so,
that
yes.
for the site, so you can check that out. But yeah, that might be interesting. So yeah, Kiri Hirayoko Tagawa, we're gonna be talking about you, Mister, in 2026, as we should. He deserves it. One of the greatest villains of all time in the action world. Another one, very recent, Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers himself. Ryan Campbell, did you ever watch any of the Buck Rogers series?
Not really. I'm more from like documentaries as a Star Wars fan. When they were,
Right.
I would watch like because I was a sucker for all of the 2-hour long documentaries that would be on DVDs back in the day for Star Wars stuff. And there was always a section in every documentary that would talk about Buck Rogers and kind of influence on sci-fi leading into, things like Star Wars. So never really watched them. They were super dated by the time I was a kid, but I was very much aware of his impact on sci-fi and serialized TV as a genre.
Well, and that's the interesting thing too, because yeah, obviously Star Wars was influenced by the old school Buck Rogers serials, the Flash Gordon serials of the day. So then it's like, all right, you want to take from Buck Rogers. So then they make a friggin' 1979 movie. Buck Rogers is back. And it's like, okay, people are into space shit. Well, we're going to give them space shit. And man, we got this. I remember my grandma taking me to see this one at the theater. And then I certainly didn't know. I'm sure she didn't know. But then it's like a few months later, it's popping up on NBC and it's now like a series. So Toyman, are you familiar at all? I know you love the classic TV. Were you a Buck Rogers fan at all?
I'm a big Buck Rogers fan. I'm not a big sci-fi guy, so stuff like Star Trek, like that never really interested me. My fondness for Gil Gerard came from something that I talked about not that long ago,
Yep.
but it was when Disney actually produced an action series, one that was not dumbed down for kids. It was actually in prime time on ABC. It was Sidekicks with Ernie Reyes Jr. It was his big breakout post The Last Dragon.
Indeed it was. Yeah. So Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers, we have lost you, but we will remember you, sir. I just saw him on an episode of Pacific Blue as I've been going down that rabbit hole of classic made on the USA Network shows. So yeah, Gil Gerard, he will be missed. And last, but certainly not least, let's talk about him, Richard Norton. Toyman, those China O'Brien movies are absolute classics.
Oh, I mean, I love the China O'Brien films. When Vinegar Syndrome finally put those out, that was a dream come true for people like you and I who have grown up on those films. I mean, I still have them on VHS tapes from taping them off HBO. But Richard Norton, was always her go-to guy. They're kind of synonymous with each other. He played a babyface in those films, but if you watch her in Lady Dragon, he's the villain.
he's
So it
horrible
was
in that
always
movie.
it was always very interesting to see Richard Norton pop up and stuff. He was the villain in a film that I know you're not too fond of, but maybe we'll revisit it, Ironheart.
Yeah.
Jim Cotta,
Yeah.
predating all of this type of stuff. We also talked about Equalizer 2000. He was just everywhere. Richard Norton was the king of some of this action fare that we grew up on. He was a true icon in the 80s and 90s in our formative years. And I mentioned Black Creek being so happy to see these people back together. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that he's no longer here with us. And obviously, our heroes are getting up there in age. I understand that, it's not going to be the same as it used to be. But what a way to go out that if he was going to pass away, for his swan song to be the fact that he was with Cynthia Rothrock on screen, sharing the screen with people like Don Wilson, Patrick Kilpatrick, just a true legend. We've paid tribute to him several times on the podcast, and we are going to talk a lot more about him in the weeks and months to come.
And again, I think we mentioned it when we did the Equalizer 2000, not just in front of the camera, behind the camera, all the stunt work he was involved in and everything. And part of the Mad Max movies, the new Mad Max movies, Ryan.
Yeah.
Campbell, I mean,
Yeah. Fury Road and Furiosa he was in.
So yeah, he had a very long career and leaves a great legacy. And that leads me to an announcement for bulletproofaction.com, because we're going to have an entire week devoted to Richard Norton. It's going to be remembering Richard Norton, a week-long celebration of his career. It starts on January 5th. The podcast that week will be the aforementioned Black Creek. I'm looking forward to finally checking that one out. We will have Richard Norton A to Z. We'll have a couple reviews, and the week will be capped off with a never-before-published interview that Mike Leader did with Richard Norton. So I am really looking forward to sharing that with the entire action world. And I want to thank Mike for...
Dang, we got some posthumously exclusives, man. Look at us.
Yeah, so
that's very cool.
That is going to be something. And again, that will start on January 5th on bulletproofaction.com. All right. Again, I'm sure we probably forgot some people, and we certainly don't want to dishonor their legacies, but what a list. And as you said, Toyman, some real heavyweights, some icons in their fields.
Yeah, to Ryan's point, it stinks. Getting older stinks, not just for the personal effect it takes on you, but the stuff that we have become nostalgic for. We're nostalgic because we grew up on it. It brings a fondness. It reminds us of something. But just as we're getting older and we're trying to cling to those older things that brought us joy, those people that brought us that joy are also getting older. So It does suck to lose these legends, to see them fall off, whether it's just failing health or unfortunate, unforeseen circumstances. And then if anything, it makes me even more nostalgic. It makes me want to go and watch China O'Brien again. It makes me want to go and watch Showdown in Little Tokyo again. It makes me want to go and watch Sidekicks again, because those people will live on forever through that, and that way they'll never be forgotten.
Correct. Absolutely. Well said. All right, folks, we are going to take another quick commercial break, and when we return, we are going to talk about the best of 2025, both on bulletproofaction.com and right here on the Bulletproof Podcast. Back again on this year in review edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. Chris the Brain, the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo, and Ryan Campbell. And guys, it is time to give a peek behind the curtain of what's going on here, the stats. Ryan Campbell, I'm always looking at the stats.
Oh yeah, constantly getting texts about the stats, good days, bad days. But yeah, it's exciting stuff, and it's the reason we do all this. I mean, it is nice to have somewhere for us to get ideas out, but it's even nicer when people read it and listen to it, Brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cards on the table. This time last year, there was a very good chance that maybe it was time to pull the plug on the website, at least, because the numbers were just progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And, I hated that feeling, and it was like, did nobody want this anymore? But you know what? Fortunately, business picked up. I certainly came in. I'm like, I wasn't just going to give up. So I came into 2025. Like, if there's a new movie and I can get to it, I'm going to get to it, because obviously new stuff does well. It's one of the guaranteed things to do well, but you also never know, though. Sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, that did pretty good, and then sometimes something could blow up. It is always very intriguing. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, we get frustrated just as viewers when movies pop around the different streaming services, but we did notice a trend of, like, when a movie would shift to a new streaming service, we would see like an uptick.
Yep.
Like if something even just left Max finally and went to Netflix, we'd see a little bit of a boost, I guess, from people that had Netflix and, either weren't aware that it was on Max, or Netflix just did a better job of putting it in front of your head. And
more exposure.
Yeah, sometimes something will all of a sudden pop off just because it got introduced to a fresh audience or got rehashed or refreshed or whatever on the streaming sites.
Yeah, and we're going to see that, the Netflix effect, for sure, right off the bat, because the number 10 post most read post of 2025 was a French action movie, Ad Vitam. This one, very early on in the year, was a Netflix exclusive. And, the Netflix movies, again, time and time again, they pop up on this list, as you will see. Seems as though, like, early on in the year, there was a bunch of, like, Netflix movies, and now I haven't been, maybe I'm not paying as much attention as I should be. But Toyman, it seems like it's more always like a series. Like you just did that, the Samurai.
Last
Series.
Samurai Standing. We didn't talk enough about some of the shows of 2025. That's just a fantastic show. That blew my mind. And to Ryan's point about exposure and how things just kind of pick up when you least expect them to, I was not even aware of that series until it was on my
Right.
Netflix homepage.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? To your point, let me do something new because the new stuff tends to bring in more clicks, more content that's more fresh in people's minds. And I was like, you know what? I'm not just going to do the first episode. I'm binging the series right here.
Yeah.
So, the Netflix effect definitely has helped us out throughout the years.
Well, I think it's that unawareness that leads the people to go look for more information, because there's so much content vying for your precious time. So if you see something pop on Netflix, a lot of people don't have the time to just dedicate to like a thumbnail picture and think it looks interesting. So they go to the internet, they start looking for like a review or looking for, is this good? Is this trash? Like, what is it? So I think that definitely benefits us there.
Yeah, definitely. And Last Samurai Standing is getting a season 2. I don't know if you saw that, Toyman, but it's coming back. So
I am ready.
Number 9 on the list, one of my absolute favorite posts that I wrote this year, and one that got the love of the man it was all about. Michael Dudikoff from A to Z, part of Duty Palooza. What a week that was, Ryan Campbell.
That was a very fun week. It's always nice when we can do these themed weeks, but that's one of the ones that just kind of took on a life of its own. And it always helps when the person we're honoring gives us a nice shout out on the socials. But yeah, it was fun. And just personally, as your friend, Brain, I know how much energy and enjoyment you get out of doing like specialized pieces like that. So it's always nice when they pop off and do some numbers.
Yeah, and it certainly did. And when Michael Dudikoff himself read it and shared it, that was a special moment for me. And I'm glad it made the top 10 posts.
And with like a thoughtful message, not just like a retweet with no comment or like, it was the kind of sweet message where you can tell they actually did read it and appreciate it, which is always cool.
Yes. Coming in at number 8, it was a VOD movie, Desert Dawn, starring Kellen Lutz, and I will say the name correctly thanks to the DTV connoisseur, Cam Gijonde. But I like to call him Cam Diginet still to this day. Because I just
old Diginets.
I like Diginet.
Cam Gigonde.
Gigonde, yeah. Cam Gigonde.
It brings back images of just scanning to try to see if you can get this.
Right. I love a good Diginet, and I love Cam Diginet as well. But yeah, that was and that one also had Chad Michael Collins in it as well. So CMC, he keeps busy, and he was a bad guy, and he wore like loud shirts, and it was enjoyable. Coming in at number 7
from G.I. Joe.
He did look, he did have that Chuckles look, and him being a G.I. Joe fan, I'm sure that was not lost on him as he put that wardrobe on, and he probably figured he could lift a missile and throw it at you. Number 7, Ryan Campbell's coverage of The Last of Us Season 2.
Yeah, it was that we did numbers this year without a Game of Thrones / House of Dragon is impressive of its own. But Last of Us did kind of fill in that slot of being one of the more viewed reviews. Again, fantastic season. That's insane that was this year, Brain. It does not. I feel like that was 2024.
I had to double check it. And
yeah, it doesn't seem right at all. But one of my favorite games and equally a very good series. And I have no idea when we're getting season 3, but I look forward to it.
Coming in at number 6, another Netflix movie, and boy, this is one that nobody would have predicted. It was a movie called Aftermath. The star of it, Dylan Sprouse.
Interesting.
It was a Die Hard on a bridge Die Hard on a Bridge, basically.
with
And,
Dylan Sprouse.
with Dylan
With one of
Sprouse.
the Big Daddy kids.
Yeah, as a former Marine who was
Probably the only people that would call them the Big Daddy kids and not Zach and Cody. Toyman.
See, I was not familiar with the Zach and Cody days.
well,
Or the Ben from Friends. He was also Ben from Friends.
that's true, yeah.
Well,
Oh, yes,
that was a
that's-
twins played one character type of situation.
Yes. Due to the child labor laws and
That's
whatnot.
right.
Number 5, another Ryan series coverage, Andor season 2, which you did mention earlier.
Yes, definitely check that out. Again, absolutely fantastic series. One of the best things that come out in a long time, and up there with all we talked earlier about the HBO series that always do well. It's right up there with the very best drama that HBO has put out. So check out Andor if you haven't.
Here's one that just popped off well after I originally published it. It was one that I got a screener sent to me, and just would you be willing to review this? It was a post-apocalyptic movie. It was called The Protector. It did star Graham Greene, who is another one who we lost. We didn't mention him earlier, but he was in Dances with Wolves. Most famously, he was also in Die Hard with a Vengeance. I don't know if it was because of his passing that this happened. It did seem to kind of correlate with that time-wise, but this thing just took on a life of its own after a while. And again, I didn't think, it wasn't a mind-blowing movie. It was fine, and I guess people started discovering it. It may have ended up somewhere too. I don't know. It's one of those things. There's so many places these things could land now. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, and it's and you don't even know. Like I know, like looking at the poster, they kind of went for like a Mad Max looking look. So maybe that got people poking around to find out more about it.
Yeah.
But again, you never know sometimes with these what's going to cause it to catch. Could be Google for whatever reason prioritized our link for whatever. Who knows? But it's always kind of fun when you see these like out of the woodwork things just do numbers.
Number 3, it is a no surrender cinema. It is Sniper: The Last Stand. Toyman,
Mentioned that one earlier.
You sure did.
Yep, just a great movie. The Sniper franchise still going strong. 1993 it started, and who could have foreseen where it would go? But Sniper: The Last Stand, really, it was a nice play on the formula where they kind of isolated the team, and you had some people getting killed off right off the bat.
Right.
So it was a nice twist on your normal story. Our buddy Chad Michael Collins, again, standing in as Brandon Beckett, the son of Tom Berenger's character. And the choreography and the fighting in this one, not just the gunplay, but some of the hand-to-hand combat, just some fantastic stuff. I had a lot of fun with Sniper: The Last Stand.
And Brandon Beckett kind of being a mentor to another character. So it's like almost like
Laying some seeds.
Yeah, where they, continuing this on, or maybe will it get a spinoff, or who knows? It's like this Sniper franchise it's not going away, and I'm glad it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, another Netflix movie that this one was like an immediate hit. This one just caught fire immediately, and sustained it. It's a movie I said should have been like what a G.I. Joe movie should be. Like they need to keep it simple, and that's exactly what it was. Counterattack. Great movie. I loved it, and a lot of other people loved it too, because as I said, this thing just kept going and going and going. And folks out there, I guess it's still Paramount who has the G.I. Joe rights. Come on now. Watch this movie.
It shouldn't be this hard.
No, it's not you don't need to have, you could just have a small group of Joes in a situation and just have a real good, solid movie like that. And you can build off of that. Don't overdo it. So watch Counterattack.
It's kind of funny, but like the Sonic movies are giving, like studios are taking note of what the Sonic movies have done, where to your point, Brain, make the characters look like how the characters look and what everybody remembers. Use the same characters, tell a story that everyone recognizes. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and do anything really off the, do what people expect, and people will come and see it, to the point that like the Paramount's already announced like they're gonna reboot again the Turtles movies, but they even specifically said Sonic like they want the characters to look like what people expect the characters to look like. Don't go and kind of do something faithful to the adaptation. And Hasbro, if you're listening, that's all you have to do. People will watch it.
Yeah. So that one, again, another Netflix movie. Again, that's what, the third one on this list. So
yeah,
the Netflix effect. And then last but not least, the number one most read thing on bulletproofaction.com was Ryan's coverage of Invincible season 3.
That's one, Brain, where I remember texting you, should we even do this? Because 2 did nothing.
Yeah, the first season was one of the big ones. Whatever year that was, I'm pretty sure it was on this list. But yeah, then season 2 didn't do much. But it was a weird release. The way
and people were kind of they released half of them, and the season didn't have a natural break point, so it just seemed really weird. But yeah, 3 was really, they came back strong. Whatever people were expressing about the obsession, being upset over season 2. They listened. There was like 3 episodes of season 3 that were some of the best TV that I had seen all year. And yeah, it was nice. That didn't expect it to be number 1. I mean, a lot of times when you do, stuff when they come out released on big streaming sites, you heard it with Last of Us, you heard it with Andor. You expect them to do decent. I don't think I would have anticipated seeing Invincible be number 1.
And I think even like maybe the first 1 or 2 times you posted about it didn't do anything spectacular, and then all of a sudden just caught fire. So again,
that's why sometimes you just got to keep at it, because that's what it was. After the first episode, I texted you. I was like, "Should we even keep doing these?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to watch them anyway because I was
right." And that's what I'm like. If you're watching them anyway, you may as well write about them. But if you were only watching it hoping that it would do well, I would have probably said, "Yeah, that first one was like, nah, no, nobody wants it." But people then eventually wanted it.
There you go.
And now, what about where they were reading? Where were they logging in? What was happening? These are the top 5 countries that checked out bulletproofaction.com.
Here we go. It's the Bulletproof Action Olympics.
It is. And at number 1 is, not surprisingly, it's the United States of America. So right there.
USA.
Here is this was the new one since the beginning of time. It's been the United States and the United Kingdom. This year said, not so fast, because number 2 now is China.
Ooh, 2026. Listen here, United States. I don't know if our podcast is even available in China. It might be censored. But if you're listening to this and you're in the States, China's coming for number 1 in 2026.
Yeah, they are.
So you guys need to get them numbers up.
There's been some days where they have been number 1. And in fact, I checked, there was like a city thing. The number 1 city, Beijing, of all. So there you go. United Kingdom is at 3, Canada is at 4, and Australia at 5. So that is who's been checking out bulletproofaction.com. And of course, we always encourage you, no matter where you're at, to check out bulletproofaction.com. But now,
kind of cool that our website's available in China. I'd imagine, because VPNs are very just openly used in China. Like the government doesn't even care if people use VPNs. So the fact that it's registering on the site as coming from China means they're not having to use a VPN to view our webpage, which is
maybe they're using a VPN from the United States, and the United States people are using a VPN for China. And it's really all reversed, and none of it makes sense.
None of it makes any sense. Everyone's just using VPN, so none of it really means
none
anything.
Of these people are actually in the country that they really are in, and they're just fucking with us. It's possible. All right.
I did in 2025, Brain, start using a VPN to view like content on other Netflixes. So that could open up some other review opportunities.
Oh, here we go. Let's see it, folks. 2026 is looking huge. The top 10 podcasts based on my data. We'll have Ryan Campbell's data as well from the YouTube channel, but from the more traditional like podcasting platforms, these are our top 10 episodes. I will say that I got like a Spotify Wrapped for creators, and they said Mission of Justice was the number 1 episode. I don't know what they figured that, but my list, spoiler alert, is not Mission of Justice, but we'll get there.
You're combining though Is yours combining everything like Apple, Spotify, all the places it's available?
Yeah, it combines all the
podcast
podcasting
services?
platforms. Okay. Yes, other than the YouTube, which
Right.
you'll get to. Number 10, Kickboxer 3: The Art of War. Toyman. This ridiculous entry in the Kickboxer franchise is a number 10.
Yeah, this was like Kickboxer mixed with a little bit of G.I. Joe gunplay. So we see David Sloan going from hero of the ring to running around with automatic weapons.
Yeah.
Very fun movie. A little different. This is when things started to kind of go off the rails a little bit. Again, I mentioned that Kickboxer 2 is my favorite of the series, but that doesn't mean that you got to discount this one because we still had a fun time talking about this one.
I was suspended for that episode, I believe.
I think you were, or that's probably when you were watching Fantastic Four at a Strange Theater, but that's all right. Number 9, New Image movie, David Bradley, a little something called Hard Justice.
30-year anniversary.
What a film. Number 8, one of the Roddy Piper, Billy Blanks tag team movies, Back in Action. I think that was our very first episode. After we took a little break and we came back in action. See,
there you go.
Things make sense sometimes, don't they?
That's right. No, we got a good booker.
That was also the Netflix effect too, because remember, Netflix had a movie called Back in Action.
It did,
and we kind of had the title tie-in. So that
see what we did there.
Jamie Foxx, yeah. Number 7, a movie I love, and I'm so glad we talked about it this year. The A-Team.
Mm-hmm.
One of those ones where it's like, how have we not talked about this already yet?
Right.
And so it was nice to get a chance to watch that again. I love that movie, so it was nice to one of those ones where you said we're covering it, and I'm like, sweet, like
Yeah,
not that I need an excuse to watch it, but I'm happy to watch that one again.
The Fall Guy, which was a great one to watch too.
That's one of those ones we did just to shut Toyman up because he wouldn't stop talking about it. So all right, we'll do it.
There's so much that I would like to do to shut Toyman up. Sometimes it involves a car, but this time it's it was just
all right, folks. I'm jumping off the podcast. I'll see you.
It's The Fall Guy. So there you go. Number 5, and this movie at one point was the top movie. It lost its spot as the year went on, but Full Contact, Mr. Jerry Trimble, Toyman.
It's a shame that this one has still not had an actual authentic DVD release, or God forbid we even ask for a Blu-ray or a 4K at this point. I would take just the DVD just to get this one out to the masses. This is the unsung hero of DTV action.
Number 4 was The Last Dragon, which was a fun one to revisit.
Another anniversary too.
Indeed. Speaking of anniversaries, how about number 3, Ryan Campbell's absolute favorite episode of the year, Missing in Action to the Beginning.
Oh, jeez.
You didn't like that one?
I like to think that
you want to get me to shut up. Ryan Campbell wished he was missing in action that night.
He was. He did. Yeah. Missing in Action too. Number 2 is, I have Mission of Justice based on my numbers, but number 1, and I love to see it, Death Wish 2.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Dead
indeed. Jump out a window, land on a fence. That'll shut Toyman up. Listen, top 5 countries that listen to the Bulletproof Podcast. Once again, the United States in at the number 1 spot. Number 2 was the United Kingdom. 3, Australia. 4, Germany. And 5, Sweden. So there you go. And now, with our YouTube numbers, it's Ryan Campbell.
Yes, and thank you everyone that over the year the YouTube channel was kind of sitting dormant. It was covered in dust, and just decided to blow the dust off of it. I have another YouTube channel, so why are we not putting these things on YouTube? So this year we decided to kind of try to revitalize the YouTube channel by putting some archives up and putting the new podcasts up, and you all just with us pushing it constantly showed up in droves. We had over 32,000 views this year, an increase of subscribers. And if anyone out there knows anything about YouTube, if you stop putting content up for a year at a time or a year or 2 years. It had been a while since we put anything up. It is damn near impossible to revitalize that thing. It takes a lot, way harder than just starting a new channel from scratch. You see a lot of people do that if they leave or they come back and just start a new channel, because it is, once they flip that switch off, it is really hard to get it back on. And with your guys' help, we saw the YouTube grow a lot this year, and we certainly appreciate that. But here are the top 10 pods on the YouTube channel for 2025. And I included all the stuff that's just been uploaded this year. Some of them are archives, but we'll get to that. Number 10, No Retreat, No Surrender 3, which wasn't in your list, Brain, but
Right.
was one of my favorite. I really enjoyed that movie. That was probably my favorite DTV type movie that we did this year.
Oh, it's my favorite of the No Retreat, No Surrender franchise, which it's a loose franchise to say the least, Toyman, since none of the movies really have anything to do with one another. They just share a
In
name.
only.
Yeah. But yeah, that's always my favorite. And then I love the original, but 3 is just so freaking awesome.
And then number 9, Brandon, and a theme you're going to see is a lot of these weren't on your list, which I find really interesting. But number 9 was Big Boss.
Oh, the Big Boss.
Which is a movie that had staying power because we kept making references throughout the year about ice factories and
little doves from Darjeeling that when they walk their poetry. Yeah.
And workers that were, as soon as they get their paychecks, blow it on women and booze.
Of course, as most workers do. Yeah, the Big Boss, that was definitely one that I wanted to talk about for so long, and I'm glad we finally got to cover that one. Love that movie. My introduction to the world of Kung Fu cinema was the Big Boss.
And the YouTube audience agreed, Brain. They enjoyed it as well. Next on the list, playing off your Kickboxer 3 number, was Kickboxer 4.
They wanted to hear us talk about the threesome, I believe.
That's what I was just going to say.
Which you might be hearing some more about that in the coming weeks, that threesome. But next would be
coming weeks, huh?
Nah, you see what I did there?
Oh.
Next would be one that we talked about a little bit earlier, the China O'Brien Tribute Archive, which was kind of a collection we put together.
It was like the super episode with 1 and 2. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So that made the list. And keeping with that was an archive. Again, another Kickboxer, Kickboxer 2 was coming in. What am I at, number 6 now? Yep, number 6 was Kickboxer 2.
Yeah, that one was one of the top performers just on the, through the podcasting apps when we first dropped that one. It's a fantastic movie. And again, Cary Tagawa, part of that. Glad some people checked that out on the YouTube.
So all the Kickboxer pods made a list this year.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just about. Well, we did 5. We'll maybe you're going to say it. I'll shut up.
I'm not. No,
Sorry, 5.
Sorry, 5.
Sorry, 5. You South African piece of shit. No, I love 5 actually.
Costco's.
I thought 5 was better than 4. Yeah, I liked 5.
Oh yeah, it's probably better than 3. At least it makes more sense than 3.
And we talked about it in the pod, so you can go check it out. But yeah, kind of getting away from being tied to the original kind of 4, I think helped it. But next spring was when we went back to school for a little while and we did Substitute 2.
Ooh, yeah. That was a good one. Treat Williams. We'll probably go back to at least do one more of those substitutes next year.
And that is the one that had your song in it, right? That was Substitute 2.
No, Substitute 1 is
that was Substitute 1.
Yeah.
Gorilla Funk was in Substitute 1.
Yep. Tom Berenger.
I couldn't remember which one it was.
Substitute 2 has a very horny teacher in it, if
that's right. Which again,
very, very horny.
Spoiler alert, you may be hearing more of in the coming weeks. But all right, we're now into the top 5, Brain, and coming in at number 4, another one that you had mentioned that was high on both lists is Hard Justice.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's almost, Toyman, like a curiosity thing. Like it's like people have probably heard of it, but it's very difficult to see, as we found out.
That's if you grew up in that era, it was on all the time, easily findable at the video store. Just it was a regular thing. Oh, Hard Justice was on last night. Oh, I taped it. Oh, I'm gonna go rent Hard Justice. Nowadays, it's like digging for gold for that one. So I wonder if we've appealed to the masses that are like-minded like us, and they were like, you know what, I'm unable to see this, so let me listen to these guys talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, China O'Brien was a thing that we did the first one, and then the second one finally made its way to Blu-ray. So maybe we could have helped Hard Justice do the same.
I feel like that was up there with maybe the worst quality version I had to watch of a movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, because it's nowhere. I mean, I know who has Babcock, that bastard. He's got it on some kind of like DVD. Like I don't know how much he paid for that. It's like a 2-movie thing.
He seems to get very lucky at the thrift store. Him and Sean Cavender both have excellent luck thrifting.
Everything south of the Mason-Dixon line.
They must stuff for me.
Yeah, south of the Mason-Dixon line, they must just have nothing but used physical media stores on every corner because these two bastards are going out every goddamn week and getting shit. And I go and I get fucking Urban Menace at the Goodwill. Come on.
I mean, you did find me the Rappin' soundtrack on vinyl.
That is true. It's real good. Go on, Ryan Campbell.
All right. So coming in at number 3 is another archive that we put up in Enter the Dragon, which we had talked about a little bit earlier.
Yes, Lalo Schifrin. There you go. Bruce Lee. Big star making. I mean, that a sad story behind that movie, but an all-time classic to say the least.
I think Bruce Lee is the only movie star to be on this list twice.
There you go, and he deserves it. And he didn't have that many movies, but he's got 2 on the list. So there you go. He's a freaking icon.
And number 2, the 1 and 2 brain were kind of clearly above the rest. These next 2,
I know these 2
really took off, and this one I thought was the runaway for number 1 for the year until we get to number 1. But coming in at number 2 is First Blood Part 2, the second movie in the Rambo franchise that we covered earlier in the year. And that sucker did some numbers. It did, let me see, about 4,500 views. So that was kind of clear away. Enter the Dragon that we talked about did about 2,000. So it was doubled up Enter the Dragons. There was a pretty big leap between.
I believe that was our 4th of July episode. So yeah, there you go.
And of course there is some name recognition there, possibly, the Rambo name and maybe drawed some more clicks, but yeah, that was pretty clear away. What I thought that big of a gap to the other ones that were doing around the same numbers, I thought would be the runaway for number 1. But then, Brain, your boy, El Presidente, one of the kings of bulletproof action, Charles Bronson, comes in, and not with Death Wish 2, which topped your list. Death Wish 4 The Crackdown tops the YouTube list at 5,271 views.
We just did that, and that was like November.
I think that one's still doing numbers. Yeah. Like it's still up there. I'm looking here at my little graph. Like that line's still going up. It hasn't leveled off yet and plateaued. So Charles Bronson is, I'm sure, I guess the gods heard you, Brain, as you came into 2025 and was maybe like, questioning, trying to find the resolve to keep chugging on forward. And you get Charles Bronson topping podcasts in both kind of avenues with Death Wish 2 and Death Wish 4.
You know what? And now that that's official, I'm going to just already drop something for everybody right now.
Ooh,
because we are on.
I don't see this in my notes. What are you getting ready to do here?
I'm about to just go off script for a minute.
Let's do it.
Keep shooting.
Because, what are we at? Episode 185? Episode 200 is not that far off.
Not at all.
We're right around the corner from episode 200. And now that we've seen this information, I will say it right here. Episode 200 of the Bulletproof Podcast will be 1974's Death Wish.
Ooh, that's a big one. That's pulling a big one out of the hat.
That's going to be it. That's coming in April. I believe it's April the 14th is when I figured episode 200, we are going to talk the original Death Wish. Charles Bronson, you have earned it, my friend.
Mark your calendars.
You've earned it. So, yeah, countdown is on.
It didn't make the list, but I'm pretty sure 10 to Midnight did pretty good as well, didn't it?
Do we do 10 to Midnight?
Or what was the Western one we did? Why is it not on the list here?
Breakheart Pass.
Breakheart Pass. I feel like that one did good for I thought that was going to make the list, but then some of the others kind of lost.
I didn't think we did 10 to Midnight yet.
Yeah, so we should talk about 10 to Midnight though, because
it
I
was
love 10 to
Breakheart
Midnight.
Pass. That was the one I was thinking of.
10 to Midnight might be a good one for October since it is kind of a slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Bronson versus a slasher. So yeah, maybe we'll pencil that one in for an October watch, so we get double Bronsons again next year.
But again, thank you all. Me and Brain were looking earlier. It was around March when we started uploading content again on the YouTube channel, and we couldn't have got that thing revitalized and Lazarus that thing from the dead without your help. So we certainly appreciate it, and look forward to 2026 on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to take one more commercial break, and then when we return, I will be covering the search terms of 2025.
One of my favorite times of the year, Brain.
It's coming right after this. All right, action fanatics, wrapping things up here on this year in review edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. Chris the Brain, the Toyman, and Ryan Campbell back with you. And right now, gentlemen, get ready. Everybody fasten your seatbelts because I have the search terms of 2025, the things people put in various search engines and somehow got to bulletproofaction.com. Are you ready?
I'm never ready for this, Brain.
I got a page and some change of these. All right, here we go. Hollywood action Hindi dubbed - sex hot 18 movie new release.
Try saying that 3 times fast, folks.
This one might have had something to do with Kickboxer 4 because it's Hollywood threesome movies.
Yep, that one definitely would have brought people to Kickboxer 4. I think that's got the most threesome movie without having an R rating, I suppose.
Right. How about Warrior Season 1 Whore?
Right to the point. Just give me the horror in Warrior Season 1.
New hardcore erotic movies full from Europe.
I'm not even sure what would have popped up on that one.
Toyman said he was going to cover some movies from 1996. Will they be these? Sex movies, 1996. How about this one?
Now I'm going to have to cover one just out of principle.
Full erotic movies, French.
A very international flavor to these erotic searches. Brain.
And there's some legitimate ones like this one where they're asking questions, and I don't know if anybody here has the answer, but in the movie Animal, how do people in the cabin survive? Got me. That was probably a Chad Cruz review, and I don't even know what the hell that is. Moving on, though.
Isn't it a Bob Snyder movie?
I don't know.
That was The Animal. Maybe, I don't know.
Adult classic movies.
Something tells me they don't just mean like Turner classic movies.
No, they're probably looking for the No Surrender cinema of Debbie Does Dallas, I guess is what they were looking for.
What is an adult classic movie? I don't even know what that genre would be.
Deep Throat would probably be, and
Debbie Does Dallas, Taboo.
Maybe some of those early Canon works that were kind of
some of the
exploitation stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of Canon, how about Laura Herring, The Forbidden Dance? Here's another legitimate one. What aircraft carrier was in the Final Countdown? You'll have to ask Matt Spector. I've seen the Final Countdown, but I don't remember what the aircraft carrier was. Here's one for our Carl Weathers fans. Fortune Dane TV series. And now we've got another international flavor with this one, Ryan Campbell. Africa Sex Kino.
There you go.
So they want sex and lottery.
Numbers.
They might want some. I don't know what they want out of this. Maybe I do. Hollywood sex female jewelry washroom.
I don't know. Yeah. That sounds like something you'd put in a chat GPT to try to get like something made there.
How about Hollywood erotic HQ movie? I don't know. Cyborg Cop 2. Sweet. That's a simple one, folks. I understand. You type in Cyborg Cop 2, you get a Cyborg Cop 2 review,
There
I
you
would
go.
imagine. So that one makes sense. How about just plain old movie sex? Here's another one. Into the Ashes ending explained. I don't know. 18 Wheels of Justice, Billy D. Williams. He was a guest star, and I covered that episode, or he was like a recurring character on that show, I believe. This one, I think Chad Cruz mentioned this last time he joined us, or maybe it was off air, but he very well could have been the one who searched this. Deborah Kara Unger, Highlander 3 sex. He mentioned that sex scene somehow.
That's what brought him to whatever
hot
brings
French-
him in, Brain.
Hot French movie.
There you go. Just any of them.
Here's one that might get somebody in trouble. My Boss Wife erotic movie of Hollywood casts.
What?
Somebody's looking for erotic movies of their boss's wife.
But with a Hollywood cast.
Correct. Halle Berry, Sexy Swordfish.
There you go. I feel like that one showed up in the past. I don't know if that's the first time that's been on
It's
there.
back, baby, if it did. Stepmom, Hollywood naked sex movie.
There you go.
That's when Toyman was reviewing.
So we've got the
Videos
I was gonna say we've got the boss fetish, we've got the stepmom fetish.
Yeah.
We've got French maids, we've got
Here's another one that a movie I just watched for the first time. Maybe some other people were wondering about it. Catch the Heat movie. It's a good one.
that's the movie Catch the Heat. That was the name of
Catch the Heat. Yeah. Anna Nicole Smith sex.
Okay.
Hollywood movies sex. Savage.
Again, very general.
Savage movie Olivier Gruner. Okay. Here's one you mentioned earlier, Ryan Campbell. 10 to Midnight.
There you go.
Here's an
See,
interesting.
they're asking for it. We got to cover it.
Here's an interesting dream match, Toyman. Billy Blanks versus Van Damme.
Okay. Might have to do a what if column there.
I was going to say, I don't believe that ever happened.
No, I don't think so. Sniper Rogue Mission. Some CMC fans out there. This one was Toyman. Don Dragon Wilson Blood Fist franchise.
He's juicing the numbers, Brain.
He is trying to.
Now,
Legionnaire.
if I was going to juice the numbers, you know what search term would be number one.
Shit, don't say it. Legionnaire Jean-Claude Van Damme. How about Emma Frost swimsuit? Anyone? How about Anna Nicole Smith 18 plus?
That's twice on the list for Anna Nicole Smith. Was it the same person that just was trying different searches?
Maybe. All Jean-Claude Van Damme actress co-stars.
I thought you were going to say ass scenes. All Jean-Claude Van Damme ass scenes.
No, that didn't make it. Against the Law, 1997. Sniper: The Last Stand, 2025.
Sniper makes the list twice.
Black Creek, 2025.
Oh, there you go. We'll be covering it.
One, that's right, coming up. That'll be our first podcast of 2026. Here's one that no doubt is from the same person who puts all these bondage pictures up on IMDb. Jenny Blake, The Rocketeer, Tied Up.
You're all freaks out there.
A movie I mentioned earlier, No Holds Barred. What's That Smell? Dookie. Dragonfire, Roger Corman. Maggie Q, Sexy. Gina Davis, Cutthroat Island. Melinda Clark, Leather Outfit.
Ooh.
Oh, that's from my Return of the Living Dead 3 review from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Apocalypto Meaning.
I got any number of them because we got that's one of those articles that just never stops
Right.
Give me
People are
flex.
always in hell. Another Jean-Claude movie. Black Belt Angel. New Fist of Fury, Fight Girls. Here's another one that may be giving us a suggestion, Toyman. Podcast Inferno, Don Wilson. And last but not least, Tennessee Buck Extended Scene, Kathy Shower. And I believe she gets oil dripped all over her naked body. And that's what they were looking for.
There you go.
So there it is. The search terms of 2025. This is what people are searching and somehow finding their way to bulletproofaction.com. You can't imagine the level of pride I have.
Yeah, no shame here. We welcome anyone for the most part. Whatever brings you to Bulletproof Action, you are welcome here, you sick freaks.
And tell your friends about us.
That's right.
As well. So there it is, folks. And again, just thank you anyone who checked out bulletproofaction.com, who listened here to the podcast in 2025. We hope you continue to do so in 2026. Next week, we will not be on the air, but the first annual Golden Butthorns Award Ceremony, which if you like award ceremonies or the potential of a absolute train wreck, you'll want to check that out.
We're trying something, Brain. We're trying something.
I'm getting this vision of a fucking giant egg that's been at this arena for months and months, and it's going to hatch next week, and it could be the shits, but
I don't know.
We're doing something.
Yeah, we got a lot of goals. We got some special guests, some musical performances. But it could all go tits up.
It could just be me reading something real quick for 2 minutes and be done. I don't know. It shouldn't be that. But yeah, that's coming up. And we will be back right here in 2 weeks to talk about Black Creek as part of our Remembering Richard Norton week, a whole week dedicated to the great Richard Norton. But you know what, guys? It is Christmas in just a few days, and I wanted to give you the opportunity, and obviously the new year, we won't be here next week. So, Ryan Campbell, anything you wanted to share with the world?
Yeah.
Are you in a better spirit than when we started this podcast 3 hours ago?
I am. I wasn't in a bad spirit. I think you're referring to my Avatar review may have been a little harsh.
Oh my God, you came out of there swinging at people that didn't even do anything.
Yeah, there was already the movie hadn't even come out yet, and there was already. I'm in a good mood. I like the movie.
On the internet.
Anyway, thank you all. Hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. As I spend a lot of my time somewhat alone, so I'm watching movies, I'm consuming media, and it definitely helps to have a place to talk to my friends about movies, to write reviews and get thoughts out of my brain into something. And anybody that takes the time to read it or listen, it is well appreciated. You definitely keep us entertained, just doing all this, not into the void. So thank you so much for all that you read and listened in 2025. Hopefully you have a fantastic holidays and a great new year. And we look forward to bigger things in 2026. And hopefully you'll be there with us.
Toyman, anything you want to say to everyone out there?
I want to, echo Ryan's sentiment to extend best wishes to our audience. Happy holidays, happy new year, whatever you celebrate, whatever term you use. I wish you all the happiest. And as far as Christmas wishes, I am wishing for some more action under my tree. My birthday was recent, and I received the complete series of the A-Team on Blu-ray. So that was a wonderful addition to the collection. And I'm hoping to get some more classic fare added to the physical media collection. And I'm hoping, much to, again, echo what Ryan said, that everyone will be along for the journey in 2026 as we talk about more from the past and what is shaping up to be a great year for more mainstream action, for more modern day stuff in the year to come.
Yeah, I mean, again, 2025, so great. I just hope that momentum continues and builds in 2026, both for the action industry in general and our site and our podcast. I know it is, I'm enjoying the fact that I don't have to work my real job for the next 2 weeks, which is beautiful. I find myself instantly sleeping better. And I'm looking forward to my Christmas Eve viewing of Die Hard, and then my Christmas night viewing of my all-time favorite, Scrooged. Freaking cannot wait for that. It's going to be great. And yes, I hope everyone out there also is able to enjoy the holidays. Again, whatever holiday it is you're celebrating, or just maybe you're just celebrating the fact that you too have a little bit of time off to recharge and get ready for 2026. Gentlemen, I want to thank you two for joining me, and you know, we were basically weekly in 2025, which I didn't think was ever going to be possible, but here we did it.
We sure did.
So
sometimes it just goes to show, and sometimes if you're questioning, you know, whether something's worth it, sometimes you just got to put a little bit more into it and see what happens. And if it fails, it fails. But luckily we decided to dive in a little bit deeper and invest a little bit more time. And I think it's paid off in 2025.
I would agree with you. So there you go, folks. Happy holidays. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you all for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.